How's it everyone, Grant here, welcome back to the channel, and my HTC 10 has gotten the Android 8.0 Oreo update, and so HTC first announced the 8.0 update, I think back in early January for the HTC 10, and they posted it up on their website and everything, and then eventually they pulled it down, no one was getting the over-the-air updates, then they finally reposted it back in February, still no updates, and now we're towards the end of February right now, almost heading into March, and the over-the-air update finally hit the HTC 10, at least the unlocked version. I also believe Sprint in the US is also receiving the update as well. I noticed online a bunch of people were receiving the update, so I decided to go ahead and check my nice red HTC 10, and that is still a very sweet color there in the HTC 10, that red with that black front. But I did check my HTC 10 today, and I did receive the Android Oreo update, and so that's what the new Sense UI looks like right there. But just to verify, we can go in here and check about. You can already see the 8.0, but software. So Android 8.0 with the December 1st security patch is what went out, and there is the software number. We go ahead and get to the Easter egg there, and there's your octopus thingy for Android Oreo, which I think is pretty weird, but it is running 8.0 here on the HTC 10. I think that's really good on HTC. It did take a couple months for them to get it out, but it is here, and this is about a 2-year-old phone. I mean, the HTC 10 came out in 2016, so that's really good on HTC for continuing to provide major software updates to their phones, including the HTC 10, which is really great when it was released, and it's still a great phone. I've been using it all day on Android Oreo, so I thought I'd go through kind of the new features here, the new look and feel, and then just my overall impressions of the phone, how it's performing for me on the 8.0 update, and I'll also show you some photos and some video footage that I took just to show you how the cameras are still performing here on this 2-year-old flagship phone here from HTC. So you can go ahead here. I have another HTC 10. This is the gold version. You can see the color differences there, but this one is still running Android Nougat. So just to show that, I can go into about software, and the last software update before the 8.0 update was Android 7.0 on the October security patch, so HTC hasn't updated it for a while before this update, but at least they're updating it. But here you can see the differences. So this is both running the HTC Sense UI here, and you can see with the Oreo update, you do get all the Oreo goodies and updates, and although it's not really major changes, at least to me, on 8.0, you get those changes here on HTC 10. You can see those icons, you have those squircles or those squarish icons there, versus the normal icons here on the HTC 10 running 7.0. And it's still running Sense, but you get the flip up here from the app drawer, no more having to press the button, whereas here you have to press that home button, or the app drawer, there is no swipe up. So I don't know why HTC still makes you have this home button here. I really wish it was customizable so you could get rid of that, because it does have that swipe up. I think that app drawer is redundant and kind of pointless, but once you do swipe up again to the app drawer, it's exactly the same. I think Sense UI is, while very light as far as the skin, I think it is getting pretty dated right now. This looks pretty much the same for several iterations of Sense UI, and I really hope HTC can update that look. I know you can throw a stock launcher on there, but it would be nice if they just updated their stock software. I also don't really like the pagination, so you can't just free scroll, you have to go through pages of icons, and that's a minor gripe, I know, but I don't like having to go through pages. I'd rather just nicely scroll and stop where I want to versus having to go through full pages. And then you can see in the unification shade, pull down the toggles there, you can see the differences. Oreo, of course, went back to that light theme, which not everybody might like, but you can theme it with HTC themes, so that's also nice. We'll go into settings here, you can see the differences. So there's that Oreo kind of settings menu there. And we can get into some of the changes in the menu, like for battery and power. So it's battery here, power before. Go in there and you can see some of the changes there, stock, look and feel on Oreo for the battery performance. And so that is one thing to note on Oreo here. I used this the whole day here. I did have to charge it up, but I used it the whole day, and I think back on Android Nougat, I was getting anywhere between 3.5 to 4 hours of screen on time, and that's not great by today's standards, but it was acceptable about 2 years ago. I was still getting through a full day on that, but on Oreo, at least through my first full charge cycle here, I only got less than 3 hours of screen on time. So I don't know if that's going to be the norm and if it's just a battery drain issue on the Oreo update, but I'll go ahead and use it for the weekend, and I'll see if that battery performance continues, and if it does, I'll try to reset and see if that resolves it. But for now, I'm getting a little bit less battery life, and that just could be because the phone is 2 years old after all. I do use this from time to time and power it back on. So it just could be showing its age. It might not just be the Oreo update there, but just something to note. And like I said, you do get all the Oreo features here on the HTC 10. And my favorite is probably picture-in-picture. So if you go ahead and start actually playing a video, and you want to go ahead and do other things, you can see there you get that nice picture-in-picture. So from here I can go ahead and fire up something like Twitter, and I can still watch my video and continue on here. And other apps are compatible with that, so I'll close this out. And if you go into settings, you go to apps, configure apps, special app access down here, you'll see now picture-in-picture. And so these are the apps that are compatible with picture-in-picture, and you can go ahead and toggle those on and off as you please. But you can go ahead and use Netflix, Maps, Chrome, etc. in that picture-in-picture mode, so that's pretty nice. That's probably my favorite feature. My second favorite feature of Oreo is probably the password maintenance. So remembering all your passwords. That comes in handy when you're setting up as many new phones as I do. And so I really love that it remembers your passwords. When you reinstall your apps, you're not having to go ahead and re-log into everything. That's a nice feature there of Android Oreo as well. And my third favorite feature is probably the improved Bluetooth. So support for Bluetooth 5. So if you go ahead and go into developer options, you can see all the different Bluetooth codecs and different settings that you can toggle on and off there. So the advanced Bluetooth support on Android Oreo I've also been enjoying. So I did notice other people were complaining that the Google Play Store was crashing for them, and that's unfortunate, but for me at least, the Play Store has been pretty stable. I updated all my apps, everything, no problem. As you can see here, the App Store is not crashing on me, so I did hear that other people did a factory reset and that cleared up their issue, but for me, I'm not having the Play Store crash on me. Also, we can go ahead into performance, and I've not been having any worse performance here on the HTC 10. You can see here Twitter is usually a pretty big offender if you start scrolling with all that media in there, and you usually get some scroll lag and some stutter, and you do get a little bit of that, but I mean that's just the HTC 10 being 2 years old, and it's not any major lag, and definitely nothing more than I saw on Oreo. And as you can see here, it's still more than fast and fluid as I move through my apps, so really not a lot to complain about here. It is definitely slower than some other flagships, obviously, of 2017 and going into 2018, but not dramatically slow. So just coming from the latest flagships, I do notice a little bit of a performance downgrade, but it's not to say it's a slow phone. It is 2 years old, and it's showing its age a little bit, but I wouldn't say it's slow by any means. I think lastly, I don't like doing kind of these boot tests or speed tests, but one of the features of Android Oreo is a faster boot up time, and the phones that run stock Android like the Google Pixel and the Nokia 8 who run true stock Android Oreo, they do boot up extremely fast. So I'll go ahead and do a boot test here on these two phones running Nougat and Android to see if at least the HTC is going to boot up any faster. I'm pretty sure that it's not going to boot up as fast as a Pixel or Nokia 8 because it is running HTC Skin, but you would expect still the HTC running the Android Oreo to boot up faster than the one running Nougat, as that is an advertised feature of Oreo. So we'll go through it and we'll see how fast this boots up. And so there you go. So the HTC running Oreo did boot up a little bit faster, even though I didn't start them exactly at the same time. Still, it was clearly faster here on the running Oreo. Not anything mind-blowingly faster, but it is a bit faster there. So I just wanted to do a quick video telling you that I did receive the Android update here on my HTC 10. So if you have not received it on your unlocked version or your Sprint version here in the US, go ahead and check for your software updates and you might be in for a pleasant surprise. I'll just close out this video with some photo samples as well as video from the front-facing and rear-facing camera and say that I'm still pretty pleased with the cameras. While they can't compete with today's flagships, they still do produce some pretty nice photos and video, and it's still a very capable camera. So I'll just go ahead and leave you with that, and let's take a look at those photos and video. Hey everyone, so here's a quick sample clip from the rear-facing camera here in 1080p on the HTC 10. Just want to give you an idea of how the camera's performing with the Android Oreo update, as well as just how it's performing in general after a couple years now. So as you can see there, there's the cell tower. We can zoom in on that if you want to see a zoom test there. And that's actually pretty clear for a digital zoom, and very steady as well. Footage is looking pretty good there. And we can do a quick focus test. So there you go, quick focus on the post. Move it away, and focuses up really nice and quick. So still some pretty quick focus speeds and some nice shallow depth of field there. And we test the stabilization here at 1080p as I obviously walk down these stairs. So let me know what you think about the HTC 10 rear-facing camera footage here and how it's performing, and what do you think it looks like for a 2-year-old phone. And here's a quick 4K clip from the rear-facing camera. Same scene I'm shooting, just to give you an idea how 4K is performing here. Quick zoom in. Still looks pretty good even at 4K there. You can see the birds flying around there. And still very steady zoom here at 4K. Let's check the focus speeds. Still pretty nice here. Focus back on the post. So very quick focus speeds here even at 4K. And again, this is kind of just before sunset. And I walk down the stairs. Stabilization shouldn't be as good here in 4K. But at least in the viewfinder, HTC 10 still looking like a pretty decent camera here, even 2 years later. So let me know what you think of this footage. Hey everyone, so I hope you enjoyed that video on the Android Oreo update on the HTC 10, as well as my experience for using it again for at least a day now. I just want to give you some sample footage from the front-facing camera on the HTC 10. And remember, this phone actually has optical image stabilization built into this front camera, so hope this footage is looking good. Let me know what you think, and as always, thanks for watching.